Have you ever wondered why some people are so good at math that they almost seem not normal? While many people struggle with basic problems, they solve difficult questions as if they were playing an interesting puzzle game. Watching them work, it almost feels like they are seeing something that others simply cannot see. And so many people quickly come to a simple conclusion. Maybe they were born with talent. Maybe their IQ is extremely high. Or maybe their parents were very strict. Those explanations sound reasonable, but the truth is actually much simpler. People who are good at math are not necessarily smarter than you. They simply learn math in a completely different way. And the interesting thing is, that way of learning is not a secret. No one is hiding it. It's just that very few people were ever taught how to learn math properly. So here is the good news. You don't need a genius-level IQ. You don't need to study in an elite school. You also don't need to be born with math genes. You only need to change the way you learn. In this video, we won't talk about the usual advice like just work harder. Instead, I'm going to share learning strategies that many top math students have used for years, from how they practice, to how they memorize, to how they build thinking reflexes. These methods are not complicated. In fact, they're very simple. But precisely because they are simple, many people ignore them. And after watching this, you might realize something. Math is not as scary as you once thought. In fact, if you learn it the right way, it can even become addictive. One of the most common mistakes when learning math is believing that reading theory is enough. You open the book, you read through the explanation, you watch a few videos of someone solving problems, you underline a few formulas, then you tell yourself, yeah, I get it. Sound familiar? A lot of people have been in that situation. In class, when the teacher explains something, you nod along constantly. Everything sounds logical. You feel like you've understood everything. But then, when it's time to do the exercises, or worse, when you walk into an exam, everything suddenly becomes blurry. Your mind goes blank. You're holding a pen, but you have no idea where to begin. The problem is this. Understanding a math concept and being able to solve a math problem are two completely different things. Understanding is only the first step, and it's also the easiest step. Imagine you're learning how to play a new video game. You know which buttons to press, you know which combo triggers a special move, but if you've never actually played the game, you will never beat anyone. Math works exactly the same way. You cannot learn math just by watching other people solve problems. You have to do it yourself, make mistakes yourself, and then fix them yourself. That is the real difference between people who learn math effectively and those who always feel math is too difficult. Strong math students practice a lot, but they don't practice just for the sake of practicing. Every time they solve a problem, they are not only looking for the correct answer, they are training their thinking reflex. So when they see a familiar type of problem again, their brain reacts almost instantly. That's why if you want to become good at math, you need to accept a simple truth. Math is not learned with your eyes, it is learned with your hands. You have to write, you have to try, you have to get stuck, and then you have to figure your way out. Only then does the knowledge truly become yours. But here's something even more interesting. For many strong math students, solving a problem correctly is only the warm-up. Most people finish a problem, breathe a sigh of relief, and say, done. Then they move on to the next one. But strong math students do something very different. They solve the same problem again, 2 more times, but each time using a completely different method. In total, 3 different solutions for the same problem. It may sound a little crazy, but it is actually one of the most powerful ways to learn. Because when you solve a problem in multiple ways, your brain is forced to look at the same problem from different angles. You don't just remember the solution, you understand the nature of the problem itself. Take quadratic equations as an example. Most students only learn the quadratic formula, but strong students often try additional approaches, factoring the polynomial or completing the square. Each method is like a different road leading to the same destination, and the more roads you know, the better you understand the map. Another mistake that keeps many people from improving in math is this: they want to jump straight into topics that sound advanced. Derivatives, integrals, complex numbers, matrices. These topics sound impressive, but truly strong math students spend a lot of time on things that seem extremely basic. Multiplication tables, fractions, simple calculations. It may sound boring, but they understand something very clearly. If the foundation is weak, everything built on top will eventually collapse. Math is no different. If your basic knowledge is shaky, the higher you go, the more confused you will become. That's why sometimes the fastest way to improve is to return to the things that seem the simplest. There is also a very special habit among strong math students. They keep a separate notebook, not for formulas, but for mistakes. It sounds a little negative, but in reality, it is an extremely powerful learning tool. Every time they make a mistake in a math problem, they don't erase it, they write it down. Then they ask themselves, where did I go wrong? Was it a calculation mistake? Did I misread the problem? Or did I misunderstand the concept? These small questions help them identify weaknesses in their thinking, and once they know where the weakness is, they can fix it at the root. Another interesting thing is that strong math students don't just learn to understand, they also train themselves to memorize. Nowadays, people often say, don't memorize things. That advice is correct, but incomplete. The proper process should be understand first, then memorize. When you truly understand a formula, memorizing it is no longer forced. It becomes more like remembering a familiar tool. When you need it, you immediately pull it out. No need to search through books, no need to think for too long. Another extremely effective method is teaching the knowledge back. After you learn something new, try explaining it again in your own words. You can teach it to friends, you can explain it to a younger sibling, or even explain it in front of a mirror. It may sound funny, but it is a very powerful way to learn. Because when you have to explain something, your brain is forced to truly understand it. And if there is a part you cannot explain, that is exactly the part you don't fully understand yet. Finally, there is one simple but very important secret. You don't need to study math for hours every day. What you really need is consistency. Just 15 to 20 minutes every day, just like exercising. A person who trains a little every day will become much stronger than someone who trains for 4 hours once and then quits for a week. When you study regularly, math slowly becomes familiar. The fear disappears, and you begin to feel that everything is becoming easier. By now, you might have realized something. Being good at math is not about being a genius. It's about 3 things: methods, habits, and persistence. Strong math students don't study more than you. They simply study in a better way than you. So if you once believed that you are not naturally good at math, try changing the way you learn first. You might be surprised at what you are actually capable of.